Hey, hello. Whoa, there we go. Welcome, my friends, to Clobberin Times, issue number 209 on YouTube, but number 909 overall for Clobberin Times. And good to see you all here tonight, my friends. I have a good topic for you tonight, and a great old buddy of mine hanging out with me knows more than I'll ever know, especially about the bat. Well, just about all comics. He knows he's my comic encyclopedia. My good buddy Carlos is with us here. Yo, bro. Thanks for being here, man.
Not a problem. Thanks for inviting me again. What's up?
Oh, nothing much, man. Always good to see you. Everyone, let me know if you're hearing us okay. We're having some sound issues before we started. Let me know if you're hearing Carlos okay and myself, if you guys would be so inclined. LT, if you could help with that, bro. Anyone, thank you. It's great to see Phantom Outsider. J-Man Buddy. All right. Snortapoopus. Lord Thoth, brother. Looking forward to talking to you about Wednesday night, man. D-Bud Martin, buddy. Let's see here. Kalel 48. You're out of Max Amanda Bear. Hello, Matthew Pounder. Hey. Good to see all you clobberers here. We will greet everyone accordingly as they arrive. A little bit of a show note before we get started. It's going to be a busy week for me here it always is on YouTube here. So it's kind of like a job now, sort of, in a good way, though. Tomorrow night, I will be on my good buddy Nick Weiser's show, 32 Flavors with Nick Weiser, as he calls it, Toxic Tuesdays, where, of course, they talk about old 80s and 90s action films. And tomorrow, he gets different people to come on depending upon the topic. And hey, I was just so excited to be asked. Hell, in fact, I kind of threatened him and told him he had to have me on tomorrow night because Big Trouble in Little China. Love it. And can't wait to talk about that. One of the greats, one of my all-time favorite movies. And so I'm looking forward to talking about that with Nick and his panel and the gang. Wednesday night, we're going to talk about the great Stone Loki's going to join me. Hopefully also Nick Weiser, Mark D with the C, and Lord Thoth. I hope you're still going to be there, buddy. We're going to talk the Mount Rushmore of NFL quarterbacks for all 32 teams. And I want to thank everyone who joined us for Saturday Night Star Trek. And that is just blowing up. We're having so much fun. My wonderful first officer, Raquel, and I are it's just the interaction we have with all of you, the crowd we get, the huge crowd we get, and how much fun we're having. Reviewing, of course, for those who don't know, we're reviewing all of Real Star Trek, 66 through 05 only, all the series. Nothing after that is Real Star Trek. So as you know, it's 735 segments of Real Star Trek when you count all the series combined. And we started with the original series at the beginning of the year. We're now in the second season of The Next Generation. Oh, boy. And that's a tough slog, but it's going to get better. But, man, we would appreciate everyone hanging out with us and giving your ratings and reviews and being interactive with us. We're having a fantastic time. 4 more episodes this Saturday night, of course. But Thursday, the Global Geek Gang shall gather 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we will be talking about I got a surprise for you all this week. It's going to be dream team-ups. That's right. We're going to talk about the dream team-ups out there that you wished would happen, that you can't, but I'm going to show you some magic where they did. In other words, some of your favorite characters, be it Batman or The Thing or whomever, because you all know we love those characters here. Teaming up with characters that they're not even in the same company with. Did you get my meaning? I'm going to show you those team-ups. I'm going to make them happen as if they're magic. So, again, Wednesday night, the Global Geek Gang, Thursday night, and then, of course, Saturday night, Star Trek. And, of course, Clobby's Comics Corner, Spinner Rack Time Machine. 2 videos on those, on that coming up this weekend. And I want to thank you for joining us for Monday night, Mark C. Comic Talk. As always, tribute to our dearly departed friend that we've named this Monday night Comics Talk show after, Mark C. And we miss you, buddy. And we always will. Tim's Talk. Good to see you, bud. Thank you for popping in. Zax, hey there. Good to see you. So last week, we talked about World's Finest. The team up, well, it started out, as I told everyone, it started out for the first almost 20 years of its existence, or maybe it was like 10, 15 years, whatever it was. It was an anthology book where Batman and Superman and sometimes Robin would be on the covers, and they never met inside until like issue 170-something. It was an oversized 15-cent book. Well, Brave and the Bold has kind of a similar story. We're talking about the second of the great team-up books. Week 3 we'll do Marvel Team-Up. Then we'll do Marvel 2 in 1 the week after that, and then we'll finish it all up with DC Comics Presents. But tonight, Brave and the Bold. And I'm gonna have some pictures here and everything. We're gonna show how it got started. But before we show how it got started, I'm gonna ask my guest, Carlos, who is a lifelong Batman fan, comics fan in general. Of course, Batman's his favorite character. And I'm gonna ask him first, because I know you were buying Batman comics and stuff. What was the first Brave and Bold, first memories of the Brave and Bold comic where Batman is teaming up with a new hero every week? Of course, later. When'd you start out with that?
I don't remember exactly which one I bought, because here in Mexico, I'm Mexican, by the way. I'm right here where I was born, in Cancun, Mexico, where getting comic books was just an incredible chore, because what we would get is translated comic books in really weird formats. We had like 3 formats, like a really tiny one, kind of medium one, and a large one. But the large one wasn't as large as a regular comic book. So, I think the reason that I have to wear glasses now is because I really destroyed my eyesight trying to read in all these different sizes. But the thing is, like Batman, Brave and the Bold, it was not known here as Brave and the Bold. It was known as Batman Presents, and it was Batman with whatever hero. So I remember reading them a lot, because anything that had Batman on the cover, I would just have to read it. I loved comic books in general, DC especially, because those are the ones that I could get a lot quicker, a lot easier. In Mexico, for a long, long time, all we had was Spider-Man, who I never liked, and Fantastic Four, which I loved, because I for some reason I really, really liked Human Torch. I just thought he was really cool and he had a cool power. And then, at some point, we were getting. Remember how what was his name? George Perez was drawing a bunch of Fantastic Fours in the mid '80s.
Yeah.
It was
'70s.
It was early '70s.
It was his first book. Yeah.
Right.
His first book.
And then for some reason they canceled Fantastic Four, and they started back up again with the Lee Kirby stuff. And that's
the reprint books, Marvel's Greatest Comics and stuff like that,
Those are the stuff that I loved. The Fantastic Four Lee Kirby stuff was just amazing. And then the Liam Buscema, just amazing as well. So, but I was really more into the DC books, and anything that had Batman on, I would just buy it, even if it was ridiculous. Because some of those team ups, Batman, Deadman, come on. But I remember a lot of them, and some of them I just loved. I remember there was one with Batman and Deadman, where there was a guy who had a pacemaker that was connected to the Earth's core, and apparently,
Bob Haney?
Yes, it was definitely Bob Haney, because the thing was that as the Earth would keep pace, his heart would be keeping pace, but there was some kind of malfunction. So every time his heart stopped, it caused tremors on the Earth, and it was Batman and Deadman had to help out with this guy who had a pacemaker that created earthquakes. That's how silly those things were, and I love that.
God.
I remember. I remember reading that book, just totally amazed. In fact, I was going to look at the covers to see which covers.
We're gonna see some covers soon. Yeah.
Yeah, just to say, that cover is the one that I mean. That cover is the one I mean. There was that one. I remember one that confused me a lot, because I was reading comic books like Bronze Age comic books. I was born. This is kind of like a secret no one knows, but here in Mexico. But I was born in the '70s, right? I was born in '71. So as you well know, I just turned 50 yesterday.
Oh boy, you did!
I know.
Happy birthday, buddy!
Yeah, thank you very much. And the thing is, I was reading comic books in the Bronze Age, so I was used to Batman being in modern times. And then I remember one time I bought Brave and the Bold, and it was Batman teaming up with the Black Hawk team, as you know,
Right.
everybody knows, they're aviators in World War II. So I'm reading this book, and I'm just transported to Earth 2 during the war. And there was no warning. I'm like, what am I reading? Why is Batman?
Yeah, he just yeah. They don't even tell you. This is a story. This is a story set back in so and so. Yeah.
No, it was just Batman would be in World War II teaming up with these guys. And I'm like, what am I reading? But I didn't care. It had Batman. I mean, I had questions as to why he didn't have the yellow oval.
Right.
But I was in on it. It's a Batman book and whatever. And I remember there was a really, really good one with Batman and Elongated Man, which was a really good team up because they're both detectives. I know Elongated Man is more of a silly character, sadly, but I think he's a really great detective. And when they emphasize his nose for mysteries, that's when I like him the most. And they fought this character called the Hanged Man. I remember it's a Jim Aparo. It's a Jim Aparo
Jim
cover.
Aparo is Brave and Bold. Let's face it.
He's so good. His Batman was one of the most amazing.
He is that title for the Batman team ups anyway.
Beautiful, beautiful. Him and Don Newton is like my two favorite Batmans of that era, and later Alan Davis. I mean, his Batman was the best bar none. But the thing is, they were fighting this guy, the Hanged Man, and I remember that book was so good because not only is the team up really, really well done, the bad guy is really, really well done. There was one great scene where Elongated Man is saying certain things that Batman finds offensive, and what's his face? Batman says, "You shouldn't talk like that, Ralph." And he goes, "Are you familiar with your Don Juan?" And he leaves, and Batman asked Alfred to get him the play, so he can read the passage that Ralph was talking about. And what I loved was Alfred goes, "Well, as you all know, I used to be an actor," and he recites the passage from the play, and I just thought that was a really cool interaction between Alfred and Batman. I mean, this is a book that I read back when I was, I don't know, 5, and I still remember it. And the thing is, I remember one cool thing that they did sometimes when you had two detectives is they go, okay, the readers, you have all the clues. Can you guess who the bad guy is? And I'm like, oh my God. And I didn't. And then, of course, you find out who the bad guy is, and they tell you how the clues could have led you there. And I said, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm learning how to be a detective from reading this book. And of course, there was another great team up between Batman and Green Arrow. And what I love about those team ups is Green Arrow kept always making fun of Batman. And I just like that, that everybody's afraid of Batman, but Ollie, he's just, he calls him Bats. He doesn't care. He puts his feet up on the Bat computer. He doesn't care. Those kind of, it was a fun book. It wasn't a good book. It was just a fun book.
Well, that brings in one of the things. There was a point I was making last week that I was going to bounce off of you. Chris Persier, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. One of the points I was kind of making about, World's Finest and Brave and the Bold, or whether it's that or whether it's with Spidey with Marvel Team Up or the thing with 2 and 1, especially though Batman and Superman with their team up books, is this. This is not, I forget if it was Byrne or somebody was saying something at some point like the Batman that you see in, for example, Brave and Bold, he's not kind of like not the same Batman, because there was a point where both Batman and Superman were in 5 different titles. You had Batman, you had Detective, he was in the Justice League, and he was in Brave and the Bold, and Batman Family. I mean, it was crazy. And Superman was and then again, and World's Finest. You had 5, 6 titles at one point. Superman, same deal. So, and forget Mr. Continuity, Bob Haney did not make things any easier. In fact, I'm going to, in a little bit, I'm going to recommend you also, as I dig up the issue number, a Brave and the Bold issue, one of many where he teams up with Sergeant Rock, which is I reread it again. It's been like forever. You know, it was a Bob Haney issue, of course, where he teams up with Sergeant Rock. That is the most bonkers, crazy, insane, ridiculous. It will make your head explode reading this comic, and that's on the cover. A hooded guy is holding a machine gun on Jim Aparo, telling him to draw Sergeant Rock killing Batman. Either Rock kills Batman or I kill you on the cover. And if you think that cover's crazy, you got to read the comic. I mean, you haven't read that in a while. Holy crap. I'm going to find the issue number a little bit later, everyone. And I'm going to say, you want to read the nuttiest comic you've ever read? I read it. I'm looking at it like, I don't know I can't believe what I'm reading here. What editor goes, okay, let's do that.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, it was insane.
You know what the cool thing is? When they did the cartoon, The Brave and the Bold.
Oh, yeah. I've done a show on that recently. I love it.
A lot of the spirit of those Bob Haney books was in that cartoon. You know, it was just that ridiculous. It made more sense, but it was just that ridiculous. And it was a lot of fun. It's a fun cartoon. And it was a fun book.
All those Steamboat books were fun. Because you got to see a hero that you loved meeting up with other heroes that you like from other, other parts of the Marvel or DC universe. And it was just a great appeal to that.
I think here, I'm looking at the covers right now to jog my memory.
I'm gonna show some covers here.
If you look at Batman Brave and the Bold, number 152, I do remember having that in Spanish, and I think maybe it's one of the last few that I read because by then I had moved to the U.S. and I said, okay. I can tell that the Mexican reproductions are very low on the totem pole, and I'd rather have the good stuff. And I started buying a lot of comic books in English. Not a lot of Brave and the Bold until, as you well know, I was a huge fan of Nemesis. Nobody knows the character I know. I love Nemesis. It's one of my favorite old-time characters.
Right, we're gonna get to them. Oh, we're definitely getting to that.
I even have the action figure, and I had to get every appearance of Nemesis because in Mexico we never had the full story. I would get jumps. I would be like reading 1, 2, 3, and then be on 5, and then on 7, and then on 10, and I was like, what happened in between? And it was until
for those who don't know, that's a backup. For those who don't know, that was a backup feature in Brave and the Bold, same as Human Target and stuff like that. But keep that thought in mind because I want to talk about Nemesis later. And
of course.
But what I wanted to show everybody, we're gonna go a little bit backwards to the beginning because Brave and Bold was not a Batman book originally. Just as many may know, the first issue it was an anthology it was a shared book. The Golden Gladiator, the Viking Prince, the Silent Knight, and so in those early issues. And then for a long time, we're going to just look at some covers. It wasn't, Batman. It didn't become Batman's book exclusively for a little while. As you know, it started out. It was just kind of all over the place, and different heroes, different things like that. But it's one of the most important titles in history because of what happened in Brave and the Bold number 28.
You mean the Justice League?
First appearance of, and I'm clicking on it. I wanted to say second forever. Looks like, because of when this happened.
Yes.
And
did you ever imagine you would ever get to see a live action Starro the Conqueror?
Yeah. It's a shame it had to be fighting a bunch of suicides. It was still funny. Yeah, but it was funny to see it.
It's a good movie. I enjoyed the movie.
It did make me go, wow, this should be the Justice League fighting Starro, but what are you going to do? But yes, Starro the Conqueror, Starro lives. But yes, the first appearance of the Justice League, folks. No, excuse me, the Justice League of America. In Brave and the Bold number 28, which launched so much, including inspiring my beloved Fantastic Four, I might add, in a sense, through competition, Hello there, Cold Era. Good to see you there, Chris Persia, buddy. Um, let's see, how do you say Deception? I'm hope I'm saying that right. Decept Decepticon. Decepticon 77. Please forgive me if I'm not saying that right. But yes, you can't talk about Brave and the Bold. There's certain creators you cannot talk about, and we're going to get to them. You can't talk about Brave and the Bold without talking about Bob Haney, but you really can't talk about it without talking about Jim Aparo, who did the book for well over 100 issues, I believe. Which ended the book ended issue 200, by the way, which aggravated me because they canceled it so they could start Batman and the Outsiders,
I
which
do
was
remember that.
not something I was happy about, to be quite honest with you. But what are you going to do? But yeah, Justice League appeared in it for a while. Then they started having the Suicide Squad in there. They first appeared. Hawkman would pop in there. All these different, for example, like Hawkman presents. It was kind of the book. They really didn't know what they wanted to do with it. But you mentioned Suicide Squad in a roundabout way, and the original Suicide Squad pop was in there. As you can see some of these covers. Cave Carson.
Cave Carson. Oh my God.
Yeah. Hawkman again, some great Kubert covers there. Teen Titans popped in there.
This has nothing to do with anything, but you mentioned the Silent Knight a while ago. As you can well tell on his shield and on his tunic, there is a hawk, right, or some kind of bird. Did you know, my friend, that it was canon, even maybe now with with Flashpoint, I don't know anymore, but it was canon that he was one of the reincarnations of Prince Khufu, better known as Hawkman.
Hawkman. Oh, there was also Silent Knight. Jonathan Kent was a descendant of Silent Knight. His name was Brian.
I didn't know.
His name was Brian Kent, and then it was kind of intended. Hey, Hungry Boy, good to see you. So yeah, but a lot of these old Brave and the Bold, hold a lot of DC history.
First appearance of the Teen Titans.
Yeah. Strange Sports. Remember those? Everybody loving on Batman Brave and the Bold. Remember Batman Brave and the Bold did a takeoff on Strange Sports with all the superheroes and supervillains playing baseball against each other.
I remember the thing is, there is a comic book. It's like a Strange Sports special.
Yes, a reprint book. Yeah.
In Earth 2, there's these two characters: Sportsmaster, who's married to the Huntress. Yes. Who later changed her name to the Tigress, and she was angry that the bad guys always lose, and she decided to become a good guy. And he goes, no. Before you become a good guy, let's do this. Let's do a baseball game between the villains and the heroes. Now, if the villains win, you stay a villain. If the heroes win, you can become a hero, honey. And they do that. I had that book. Don't ask me why, but because I don't even like sports and I don't like baseball. But I had a comic book where good guys and bad guys are having a baseball game, and all the bad guys are cheating, and you have like Lex Luthor inventing something so that the ball curves a certain way so the heroes can hit it, and I read that when I was like 12 or 13. So you let it go, and then you grow up and you go, oh my God, I'm reading a book where Lex Luthor is using the greatest criminal mind of all time to curve baseballs. What am I reading? Silly books.
They were just for pure fun. And again, it was used for D-Bud, like you pointed out, it was like a showcase type of a book for a long time. And then it became sort of anthology team up in the sense, like, for example, here you would have Flash and Doom Patrol. You would have Flash was teaming up with people for a while, and then occasionally Batman would pop in there, and Batman would come in for a while, and then they would switch it out again. And listen, I'm trying to think where Batman started. Now Thoth, look at this. God, I always love this cover. Murphy Anderson, Infantino Anderson cover right there, I believe.
Beautiful.
Spectre and Flash.
There we go.
I think you said number 59. Did you not? Thoth was your first issue. So let's see what number we got here. What is
No,
that?
I said, like 152 is one of the few covers that I remember. Let me see if I
No,
look at the
well,
covers.
Ralph said 59 for his. I was trying to find his. But yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
if I
No, go
look
ahead.
at the covers, I can more or less say, hey, I remember checking this out. Let's see.
I love that cover. Let's see
Let me
here.
see. The
I mean, they're all
first,
familiar because
yeah, but I have a good memory, and if I
you
look
do.
at something, I go, hey, I do remember seeing this
Oh my God,
at
I
some
love this. This is the
point.
one. Lord thought this is the one you said was your first one, buddy. There it is. Yep.
Let's
God, I
see.
love that
Yeah,
cover.
I know 152. Brave and the Bold 152.
152.
At some point, I know I had that book in Spanish. I know I had it. I don't remember the story, but I remember it
Oh, I
just
got
being
you. I
like
see what you mean.
it's no good. It's Adam and Batman.
152. Let's find it. Let's find 152. Yeah.
Here.
I got it. It's just
I
being slow.
I sent you the cover of that strange sports story where the heroes and the villains team up. I mean, they play baseball. It's so stupid.
Yeah. And
Uh,
it's probably one of the DC special reprints or so. Yeah, DC Superstars reprints. Yeah. I have to click on it. Hang on a second. A lot of this is reprinted from in the Bold, I do believe.
there we go. I also remember this one, number 161. That's where he teams up with Adam Strange. If I'm correct, that was the first time I ever knew who Adam Strange was. And I remember what happened here is Adam Strange died, but then all the Zeta beam got out of his system, so he was transported back to Earth, so he was alive again.
There you go.
And yeah, it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But you're a kid. You read it. You have fun.
Oh yeah, I mean it's fantastic, dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just love. I love these old covers. Let's see here.
Yeah. There we go. The Black Hawk issue that I mentioned was 167.
I'll find. I have it. Let's see. I have all the covers at disposal right here. What'd you say? One what? Oh, you just tell me a number. We have it.
167, and you're like, what? What happened? 167.
Yeah. Oh, we got to find that rock cover after that. Let's see. Hang on a second. 167. Did you say it right? Okay.
Yeah.
We got to just take a second to get to it. But yeah, I mean the covers are. I mean, all these are Aparo covers at some. At that point that you're talking about, it's all Aparo all the time, and rightly so. I found
it was great.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's my.
There you go.
He and Marshall Rogers are probably my two favorite.
Oh yeah, Marshall Rogers is amazing.
Batman.
Have you told them your story? How your mom destroyed all your Marshall Rogers prints?
No, that wasn't me. It was a guy. It was a guy at the comic. I still have mine framed. It was a kid at the comic shop I was working in the 80s, Southland Comics. The kid had bought the Marshall Rogers. Oh, there you go. Yeah, this is Batman portfolio. I found Black Hawk cover. I remember this. I bought this. And I know it's got Nemesis. Second complete issue with Nemesis.
Yeah. I think the first one was with the Black Canary and Batman fight the Penguin, and just the moment I saw Nemesis, even though the art, I think it was Dan Spiegel art, wasn't my hit. I just loved the story so much. I just needed to know more about Nemesis, and I bought every issue of Brave and the Bold with Nemesis, and twice. Once to have the story, just complete it, and another one just to cut out all the the Nemesis backups and make my own little trade paperback, and I still have it there.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have here with me the creator of the comic book compilation trade paperback.
I needed to have it.
For those who don't know, as I mentioned earlier, Nemesis was one. I mean, there was a Human Target backup for a while, and there was a Nemesis backup for a while. I don't know how many issues, quite a few. And this fool collected every one that had that, and then he mutilated his comic book.
Yes, I did.
To be fair, he probably had doubles. I don't know. Anyway,
I did have doubles. I did have
he had
doubles.
doubles. He cut out the back. And how did you buy them?
Oh, I had a friend who worked at a whatchamacallit, a little stationery store,
You
and
changed
they
your
would
deal?
buy
Sorry.
and they would bind books, and I just gave them all to
Oh,
him. I
cool.
said, please treat them as if they were gold, and he gave them back to me all bound, and I was so happy,
Oh my!
so happy.
Trying to hey, your Muslim
I
uncle.
still
Good to
have.
see you. The wake down. Good to see you. How many segments were there? Because it was quite a few, was it not?
Yeah. From 167, which I'm sorry, it was 166. That was the first appearance. That's with a penguin and black canary cover, all the way to like the 200s. Let's
200 was the
see.
last
It's
issue.
on.
So.
Yeah.
And he even appeared
Like
he appeared with Batman in a front story, in a full story, right?
and two on 193.
Oh, two of them. Okay.
Yeah,
So it's quite a
193
bit.
was the last story that he was in, and before that, he did a story. He did a team up with Batman. It was 170, and then later, we were led to think that Nemesis is dead, but he did not die. He later appeared in Suicide Squad.
Okay. Yeah. You're talking about the Ostrander series of the '80s.
Yes, this is the great John Ostrander.
You know, they got those. Been seeing those trade paperbacks everywhere. That for like $3 a pop at this thing. Polly's now. All those Ostrander ones.
They're so good, and nobody appreciates them for what they are, and everybody wants to buy the Suicide Squad stuff that came out during the new 50, the new 52, which is awful. And I keep like in my radio show, I keep telling them, please, you gotta read the original stuff. The original stuff is amazing. Nobody listens to me.
Indeed, I hear you, man. Well, yeah, I think I bought this issue. If I remember right, I was buying it regularly at this point. Yeah, just what a fun comic this was. Like I said, and it was kind of fun. I think it was Byrne who was talking about. He said the Batman in the Brave and the Bold comic alone, and even in Justice League, and even in World's Finest, is not the same one on his own title. He doesn't act exactly the same. It doesn't have any kind of continuity. I mean, he'd be so busy he never had time to go out and fight his own villains because he's always doing that kind of stuff. But you didn't give a crap when you were a kid. You just loved it. It was so you're seeing Batman and you're getting the bonus of hanging out with another superhero. I mean, it's a win-win for you when you're a kid, and this is just so much fun. These comics, especially the Aparo stuff. They've got a couple of hardbound volumes of Aparo, a Batman.
And the way he draws Batman, it's just amazing. I mean, Batman and the Outsiders, it is, again, not a great book, but the art in it is so beautiful. Every Jim Aparo page in Batman and the Outsiders is amazing. And then when Aparo leaves, Alan Davis takes over. And again, the stories are not, just the greatest stories ever. No, they're just fun, good, solid superhero stories. But the art is so good. It takes it to another level. That's how good that art is.
Here it is. All right, everyone. I'm going to make a recommendation. I don't do it very often. But yes, Matthew Pounder, I'm probably answering your question. You probably saw the answer. Yes. Carlos just answered that Nemesis and Batman teamed up twice.
Yes, I did.
This comic right here, Brave and the Bold 124, will melt your brain out of your head when you read how he teamed up with Rock a few times, and they never really explained why Sergeant Rock is the age he is or in that kind of crap. Well, one of them was back in World War II, like in the Blackhawks, I think. There were a few of them.
Well,
right?
look at it. If you look at Brave and the Bold 171, Batman teams up with Scalp Hunter. Now, Scalp Hunter he's an Old West.
In the Old West.
He's an Old West hero. He's what
Yes.
1800s.
Right.
And Batman goes to the past to team up with him. It's like, oh my god. You just have to take it on faith. You just have to just buy into it.
Yeah.
You buy into it, and that's it. And here's a few good issues that I loved. 175. He teams up with Lois Lane to defeat
Yep.
to defeat Metallo. Great
Metallo. They
issue.
fought Metallo.
Great issue. The one that I was talking about with
Oh,
Elongated
shit.
Man versus
Right?
the Hanged Man was 177. Great issue. Just a fun detective story. There's 178 where he teams up with the Creeper, which was great too.
Yep.
Um,
The
let's
paper
see.
chase.
Of course, there's another really good issue with Batman and the Huntress from Earth 2, and she's Batman's daughter in Earth 2. So
Yep.
when they're
That was a great
together,
one.
yeah, because when they're together, it's she's kind of uneasy around Batman because she reminds him of her father, and it's a whole thing. The issue, you're not gonna believe this. You will say that I'm a liar, but I am not. Brave and the Bold 187 will make you cry. It is so beautiful. Batman and the Metal Man. I never liked the Metal Man, but this issue is beautiful. I mean, you will cry. I mean, the last page will make you cry. It's that amazing. It is truly, truly. Oh, this is the issue that I was. Oh, see, again, I made a mistake. I said that Batman and Adam Strange team up, and Adam Strange died, but no, that was until 190,
190.
where Adam Strange died, and he was, yeah, 190. He died, and he was resurrected when the Zeta beam got out of his system, and he teletransported back to Earth. And of course, there's one that I always tried to read, but I just found it so ridiculous I never finished it, which Brave and the Bold 191, where Batman teams up with the Joker. It was just too much. It was too much for me. Way too much for me.
Let me find that one, Lord Dolph. 198, you said? 198.
198.
No, I'm gonna find. He wants to see that one.
Oh, the Karate Kid one.
Yeah, I know I have that one. If that's the one you're talking about. Thoth is a big Legion fan, like we are. Avon lives, and long live the Legion, Thoth. Oh, there you go. Karate Kid.
Yeah, that one I never read, and of course I did read just recently 197, which is where Batman and Catwoman of Earth 2 finally get married, and of course I read Brave and the Bold 200, which is not that good, but the art is really beautiful because it's Dave Gibbons. Dave Gibbons does the Earth 2 stuff.
Yes, and I was pretty. It's bittersweet because it was kind of nice to see that, but you knew it was the last one.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that it was going to get canceled, but yeah, it was hard, man. It was like, damn, really, so sad.
At the time, you know, because they were doing a new #1 with Batman, meaning Batman and the Outsiders. I ordered, heavily on it, but I was just kind of sad, to see the comic end really. But it was kind of sad for me. Couldn't find a good cover of #1.
To me, it wasn't that big a deal. Like it didn't like hit me where it hurt, because to me I was getting, okay, this is getting canceled, but I'm getting Batman and the Outsider, so it wasn't that big a deal. Plus, as I've mentioned before, I used to read comic books here in Mexico. So when I went to the United States, I wasn't buying comic books regularly because at first I didn't even know how to read. So what I would do is I would go to the KMB or any other place where they have like racks of comic books, and I know people that were born like after 200 have no idea what I'm talking about. But kind of before there were 1,000 specialty comic book shops, you would get your comic books wherever you could, and every time we would go to the drugstores, you would see these racks of comic books, and I knew who all the heroes were, but I didn't recognize the stories because America was, I don't know, like 10 years ahead of Mexico in so many things, but also in the numbering of comic books. So I would be seeing comic books that had not gotten here, and I would just look through them and I would just be amazed. Oh my God, this is so cool! This is so cool. And I would be reading and reading them, and I would not be buying them because, of course, I didn't know how to read English. Plus, all the numbering was so far ahead. I said, no. If I don't start from #1, I can't go. So the thing is, when I finally learned to read in English, I decided to get comic books that had just started. So I do remember getting GI Joe #1 because it was a #1 issue. Plus, I was a big, huge fan of the toys, and I had a bunch of toys, GI Joe toys. And then when I decided, I said, I need to buy something with Batman. My collection cannot start officially uh, with GI Joe. It has to start with a Batman comic book. So I would look at everything Batman that was in the racks, and it was Detective and Batman and the Outsiders. And the thing is, the Detective and Batman were so far ahead in the numbering, there was no way I was going to get to like a #1. But Batman and the Outsiders was on issue #3. And I said, well, that's as close as I'll ever get to #1. So I got from 3 on, and I was so happy, but I needed to fill those holes. And, lo and behold, long story short, it turns out that BSI Comics, where actually you and I met, was like a block away from my school. So I found that shop. I got 1 and 2 Batman and the Outsiders, and I became a collector, an official comic book collector. I would put them in bags, put them in the boxes, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, it all started with Batman and the Outsiders. So to me, losing Brave and the Bold wasn't that big a deal because, Batman and the Outsiders, that's where I started my collection. That's where I became, a comic book collector in English, because I was already a comic book collector in Spanish. But, those comic books are worthless because, they're reproductions. In fact, every so often I get asked in my radio show, what are comic book, like Spanish comic books worth? And I said, they're worthless. It's all nostalgic. If you remember fondly a comic book that you got the Spanish version of, you will pay an arm and a leg to get them. But I wouldn't pay 5 cents to get any comic book that I had the Spanish reproduction of, because the color was awful, the paper was disgusting, the translation was moronic. They're awful comic books. I mean, I'm glad that they existed because
you were able to read them. Yeah.
That was my doorway. I mean, the reason that I'm talking about comic books now, 50 years later, it's because I was able to read them at an early age. Even if there were awful versions, at least I was able to read them. But right now, I would never, ever in a million years pay you 5 cents for any of them. I would rather get the American version. I do remember, like, let's say there was a comic book, a Batman comic book, where he fights a vampire. I think it was named Count Orlok or something like that. And I remember that issue, vividly. And it caused me my first nightmare. But of course, I don't want the Spanish version of it. I tracked down and got the American version of it. I didn't care about the Spanish version. Why would I? Yeah, sure. It caused an impact on me, but I want to read the real story, the real version, the version in English. And believe it or not, it's a Mike Grell drawn comic book. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say that Mike Grell's birthday was today. Hello there, by the way. Hello, Janet and Captain James Skywalker. But yeah, I forgot to tell everyone. In just coincidentally, Claude got this signed this issue of Legion, Superboy in the Legion, signed by Grell for me, and he just gave it to me the other day. Grell was I mean, I have some other things signed by him, but still, he got this one signed by Grell for me, and here it is, Grell's birthday. So one of the last few greats, and of course, he got this cover because you know how much I love Superboy and Wildfire. So,
oh god, so good.
Yeah,
it just what do you ever do that? Just go online, look at covers, and just
all the time
let your mind go back to when you could read comic books and actually be happy that you're reading comic books.
That's what my whole show's based on Monday nights, dude. I mean, and I'm always going back to just look at these covers. Makes me happy, dude. It makes me happy just looking at these.
I know. It's just I'm just sad. I'm a very sad man. Every time you and I do a show and we reminisce about all the stuff we used to read. I go,
Yeah,
hey, maybe I should read I should read something new. And then I try it. And I'm like, why am I
yeah.
doing this? Either
It's so bad.
either I have become an old fart, or
Yeah,
comic
we
books
both
are
have.
just bad, or comic books are just bad, because I don't know. I was just rereading Astro City,
Oh
and
man. Well,
just being happy of how great that comic book is. I'm rereading the Confessor storyline,
oh
and
God, yeah,
I
love
said,
it.
this is so
So
good. This is so good. And then I tried to read the Tom King Batman stuff,
ugh.
and you're reading it, you go, it's not that bad, but it just doesn't get me excited. It doesn't move me like, I don't know, a Nemesis story at one point did. And then I'm reading this part where Batman tried to commit suicide after his parents' death, and I'm like, no, Batman doesn't do that.
No,
I know the story. Batman goes to his parents' graves, and he swears that nothing like that will ever happen again to anybody. He swears, justice for his parents' deaths. He doesn't, you know, get all depressed and emo and decides to kill himself. That is not Batman. Batman is not a
nope,
suicide. And I'm
nope.
like, Tom, you're such a great writer. Why are you doing this? Why are you making Batman more human? He's supposed to be above us. Yes, he's a human person. He's a human man. But what makes him beyond humanity is his force of will. You know?
Yes,
and and if you have great force of will, you're not gonna, succumb to just depression. It just
not Batman.
no, you're
No.
killing me.
Dude, we live in a time where the way they write, they take these characters, whether it's Hack Snyder, David S. Goyer, Tom King, and instead of elevating these characters above themselves, hello there, Catman, good to see you, and making them the ideal that we all, when we were reading these characters, we read them and looked up to them. They want to do crap where they drag them down into the gutter with themselves and make them try to project themselves into them rather than project what they make these characters the icons that make us aspire. These characters are supposed to make you aspire and want to be like them. And these writers don't understand that. And never will.
I know. That's one of the things that talking back about Suicide Squad,
Mm-hmm.
the most recent movie.
Right.
You can like it, you can hate it, but one of the things that I love is, even though they change stuff around and move certain things, you have a director writer who understands the characters, and they act as they would in the comic books. I mean, the way Peacemaker acts, that's the way he was characterized during the 80s in DC Comics. The way Harley Quinn acts, and you go, oh, that's very close to what she would do if she was allowed to kill in comic books or the cartoons. But she's not a moron. She's a silly character, but she's a smart cookie. And she's tough. And you see Ratcatcher, and you go, my God, I'm liking a character who's
Yep.
he doesn't even exist in comic books. Totally original character, and she's amazing from the beginning on. King Shark acts completely different from the comic books, but what they do makes him a lot more funny and makes him a good part of the ensemble. It's a truly ensemble cast. They all work together. Polka Dot Man, who's a total loser in the comic books, here you root for the character,
Right.
and
It
you
was
go, oh
really
my God.
well done.
Right, and then you look at David Ayer's version of the Suicide Squad, and he's not a bad director. I saw Fury, and it was a pretty good movie. End of Watch was again a pretty good movie, and you see his Suicide Squad, and it just makes no sense. And you go, my God, he does not understand the characters. That is not the Joker. That is not Harley Quinn, and you can complain on and on and on about that movie. And that's the same thing that's happening with the characters now on comic books. I just looked at what happened with Tim Drake. You probably talked about that in one show. I don't want to dwell too much on it, but I'm saying
No,
no.
we don't do that.
You know what happened with him, right? He just came
I do. Yeah,
out.
we don't do any political
I
stuff here,
just
but I hear you. Yeah.
no,
No, I got
yeah.
you. Yeah, it's
But what I
ridiculous.
said
It's
is,
horrible.
but what I just don't want to get too much into it. But the thing is, I know the character. I read his first appearance. I read all his miniseries. I read all his books, and they're just taking this out of left field, just completely out of nowhere. And I'm like, characters are supposed to grow organically from their introduction and on. And this just came out of nowhere. They're forcing a character to act like something else just for, to draw more, to get more money, to draw attention. And I just don't think that's correct to do with characters, just to force them into something that they're not. When they did the same thing with North Star, well, since the beginning, he was planned to be that. So it was more organic. So I had no problem with it. It's no biggie. The character was meant to come out,
Right.
But
That's
when they
right.
just
That's
do it, I don't
exactly
know. I
right.
mean, they did the same thing with Iceman, and I'm like, really?
And Alan Scott,
No.
even though they changed it, but Alan Scott, hey, Ace Cast Iron, good to see you, brother. Hey, man,
And I'm
good
thinking like
glad to see you.
I'm thinking like these are extreme examples, but you can just go through every character, all time character, and they've changed them so much they don't even resemble the characters that we remember. So
No, yeah,
what
nobody wants to see
when
that crap. Yeah,
yeah, so when I look at these books, these all time books that they may seem silly, but you can at least Batman was acting like Batman. He was being like, even if it was, there were silly stories. He was taking out of context. He was taking out of time. But at least he was acting heroic. Alfred was acting like Alfred. The other characters were you could understand who the characters were just from the two or three lines that they would say. You know, and and that's something that I wish we could have more now. But now every character, it's just I don't know. Just reading comic books right now, it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It hurts me sometimes. And yes,
yeah.
sometimes a good comic book kind of just sneaks in, and I'm so happy. I'm like, oh my god, I'm enjoying this comic book. I wish I could read more. And then you have I don't know if you get to see this, and I don't know if any of your listeners are fan of this, but they came up with this whole thing, Dark Knight's Metal, and
I
I'm
know
reading
of it.
this,
Yeah.
and it's, oh my god, it's
Oh,
I try to read it, and it just read like an early '90s Image comic book where there's really nice art, but the art is so crowded, and then you have thought balloon. Well, you have word balloons all over the place, and you just get tired of reading so much. I'm like, can't you get to the point? I mean, I remember reading Watchmen. In Watchmen, there's a lot of information, but it's so interesting and so much fun. You don't get tired of reading it. You
no.
enjoy it, And every Alan Moore book, he's a wordsmith. He gives a lot of information, but it's all enjoyable. I remember one time you lent me your Watchmen special edition, and it had like excerpts from the original script of Watchmen,
Hmm.
and his descriptions are interesting. His descriptions are fun, and they introduce you to this world. Just the description, not the actual word balloons, just the descriptions. And then you read newer comic books, and the things that the heroes are saying or the characters are saying are just not interesting anymore. And you're like, oh my god, why is this happening? What happened to all these to this wonderful world that I used to love getting lost into? Now I just don't want to be a part. Don't ask me why. I finally read Marvel Zombies. It was painful.
I can't
It
stand
was
that
a
stuff.
it was a painful read. It broke me. I could not finish reading it. I just had to look through it because actually reading it was killing me. It was destroying my soul. And then you read something like these silly Brave and the Bold, and it just you chuckle a little, you smile, and you go, "My God, Batman just went to the Old West, or Batman is teaming up with Huntress on another Earth, and there's no explanation how he went from one Earth to the other." But you don't care because it's just fun, You enjoy it,
Yeah.
and we don't have that anymore, and it saddens
No.
me.
Well, that's what we do
Saddens me
here.
to no end.
Yeah, that's why I can't seem to stand talking about that crap anymore. It just drives me nuts after a while because it's so horrific. And when you talk about these comics here, there's just so much joy. I mean, maybe back when we were coming out, we would criticize them a little bit. Now I look back, and it just fills my heart with joy every time I look at any of these old covers. There's something about a Bronze Age cover, by the way, that always does it for me. The setup, especially like these DC 100 pagers right here, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like this.
Oh yeah.
And just the way it's set up and everything. Good God, look at that Paro art. I mean, that's a comic book right there, folks. This new crap, I don't know what you want to call it, but they're not comics. See, Mitchum, yo, brother, they're not comics anymore. They're not. I mean, they're just they're $4.90. They're $5 pamphlets that are on slick paper that are just ugly. They're not done by artists. These assets, most of them you work on computers, but to hell with them. Let's talk a little Brave and the Bold, because I was going to ask you a few questions.
Sure, go ahead.
God, I love these covers. Now, we talked about a little bit about how the Batman in these comics is not. I mean, he's kind of a different, because he's spread so thin about in all these comics and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that he would just. I read an article, and I wish I could remember what it was. It was in the Great Magazine back issue, which I never missed, by Two Barrows. Love it. They did a crazy article many years ago, and I can't remember it all, about how many different versions of Wildcat there are, for example.
Okay.
Which we both, I love Wildcat.
Yeah,
How many times did he team up with Wildcat, and he was different every time, just like Rock, just like Sergeant Rock?
Yeah, I remember a good friend of ours. One time, he gave me an issue of Brave and the Bold, where he teamed up with the Earth 1 Wildcat. But
Right.
there's no Earth 1 Wildcat. There's only Earth 2. Ted
No.
Grant, period.
But all of a sudden, that was Bob Haney had made an Earth 1 one for no reason.
For no reason.
I mean, it just. Oh my God! It's funny. I think it was. I can't remember who was editing the title at the time. I'm gonna have to look back on that, whether it was Julius Schwartz or whomever. And the reason I say that is because there was a guy named E. Nelson Bridwell. He was the continuity cops for DC. And he didn't let anybody get away with any kind of continuity screw ups ever. I mean, he would tear them a new one if they would do crazy with the continuity. And apparently, he wasn't overseeing Bob Haney. Let's see. I think this was. There you go. Now I see why that's right. See, he was doing that to the Superman titles and the Shazam title and stuff like that. Where Schwartz was also took over the Superman books and the Murray Boltinoff. Now I remember, I was looking for the guy's name. Murray Boltinoff was as bad as Bob Haney because he just did not care, and he was the editor. He said, "Just write it and get it ready. I've got a deadline. I don't give a crap what you do." And I'm not knocking at everyone. I'm just thinking it's funny. It's just kind of funny that was the concern back then. They did have a deadline, no question about it, but they were concerned with was it a fun story or not?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And
because in the end, really, that's all that matters, isn't it? Just to have a good story that people are going to enjoy. And, the continuity, please. It's good to have continuity. I love it. I adore it because then you can have things make sense long term, right? But the thing is, continuity can be stretched as long as it doesn't break, And
he broke the hell out of it, though.
Yeah, but Bob Haney totally broke it.
This is one of those ones you're talking about right here. Look, Wildcat and the Joker. Good.
Yeah. But for some reason, because it's a team-up book, kind of team-up books, you never really take them as seriously as the rest of continuity stuff. Like, if you look at Marvel team-up with Spider-Man, none of those team-ups made sense.
That's
same
next
thing,
week. Yep.
With Thing and Marvel 2-in-1, again,
never fit.
Yeah, never. But
and they didn't care.
You take the good with the bad because like in Amazing, the continuity was pretty good. Peter Parker was Spectacular Spider-Man. The continuity was pretty good, and the same thing with Detective and Batman. The continuity was pretty good. But when he's in a team-up book, even in Justice League, you take a little certain things for granted because Batman is not that much of a team player. And when he
No.
was with the when he was with the Justice League, he was the Batman in Super Friends, basically. He was a nice guy. He would let everybody in. He would give everybody their chance to speak. He would tell everybody his secret identity. I'm like, that's not very Batman, but you take the good with the bad. You let the continuity be bent a little, which is one really cool thing that Grant Morrison did when he did his version of the Justice League. Was Batman was acting way more Batman than back when
he was such a jerk. He was a jerk off, really.
I know, but
they turned him into a complete jerkweed.
That's the kind of Batman that we got after Crisis.
Yeah.
The Batman after Crisis was not a good team player. He was not a good friend.
No, he was not a nice guy.
He was not a nice guy. He would only be friendly with Superman, but after a while, they became really good friends and they started trusting each other. And he would work really well with all his Robins because they were used to taking orders. But whenever he was with the Justice League, it was just hell for him because they were not used to just obeying without questioning.
Yeah, well, that's true. There, Hungry Boy. He said, I didn't need any sense for Spidey to be rocking and bopping with Red Sonja, the Burn in Austin. That art with that Burn issue of Marvel.
Oh God!
Yeah,
yes.
just that was a fun one. I love the Red Sonja one. You're right. Didn't make any sense. Doesn't matter.
Made no sense because Mary Jane turns into Red Sonja. So that makes no sense.
She does.
She goes from being a hot redhead to being a hotter redhead.
Right.
Basically. That's what
right. I also that Sergeant Rock one look, I'm telling you folks, it may be dangerous to your health because if you read it, don't blame me if your head explodes. It is absolutely finished to cover up our own. Rock kills Batman or I kill you. That's it. And Jim Aparo was in this comic, dude. And he's running for his life from this guy. Jim Aparo was drawing a Batman comic in this thing.
Yeah, I sort of have. I think you showed it to me one time, and I was like, my head cannot. My head cannot be wrapped around this. It's too much. It's too much for my head to take.
This one's stupid too. For a lot of other, oh man, I'm trying. Barry Allen was for some reason working for Commissioner Gordon. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. I don't know why it was in Gotham City. This is another one I remember now. In this Sergeant Rock book, for some reason, when Batman goes out to run around with Sergeant Rock, he just drives around in a police car, in a marked unit. He doesn't. Where's the Batmobile? We don't know. He just forgot that Batman has a Batmobile. It's fucking. Oh God, it's hilarious. I love this. I'm going to read it again. I should read this. I should read that comic on air. It's really bad. I mean, it's Bob Haney, folks. They called him Mr. Continuity. In fact, after Crisis on Infinite Earths, there were these Crisis Index from one of these smaller publishers or whatever, and I had I had the Crisis Index, and they did a follow up one, and it was listing the different Earths, and there was Earth B.
Yeah.
For Bob Haney. We used to joke about that, like when something didn't make any sense. That happened on Earth B with Bob Haney. You know whose voice that is. And there's Wildcat again. That's young Wildcat, but there's Batman with the yellow insignia. It's in the... I don't even understand it. It makes no sense. He said, to hell with it. That's why there are like 20 different weird versions of them. Captain Deckard Spock, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, my friend. But this was just such a fun. I mean, dude, these covers are just great, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you pick a favorite. Oh,
I tell you that one with Elongated Man and Batman fighting the Hangman, that was a great issue. And also the
issue number. Good.
Yeah, I told you, didn't I?
Oh, it was
one. Yes, it's. Let me give it to you right now. Is 177.
177. Okay,
177. That was a really good one. And 168. That was the team up with Green Arrow. Those two are they're really
Oh,
well
there you
done.
go.
The one
There you
with
go.
like I said, the one with Batman and Elongated Man is a really good showcase for Batman and his detective skills, and the one with Green Arrow showcases Batman's escapist ability. And the way he escapes the trap was so cool. I was like, oh my god, Batman is just the coolest hero ever.
There's Batman with
And
scalp pounder, like you mentioned.
oh,
Did you
so
say what?
silly.
177?
177 and
Oh,
168. Those are really two really good
there you go.
stories, good issues. Oh god, isn't that so cool? The Hangman is using elongated man to
Right.
hang Batman. It's just because
Yes.
Batman can't he can't hurt his friend. You know, he can't cut Ralph's neck to get free. It's really,
Yeah,
it
that's
just
true.
from the cover, it gets you. You understand the danger. You know what's going to happen. How will they get? How will they ever get off this ride? It's just amazing. And 168 is a really good Batman Green Arrow
Oh, there you
story
go. Yes.
because
There you go. And there's your
that Green
nemesis.
Arrow, that Green Arrow, during that time, he was a great character because he was kind of like the one that would create, a different dynamic. Because
Right.
Batman would team up with any character, and it would be kind of like a smooth transition. But with Green Arrow during that time when he was in this very like he was what you call him, like a very liberal phase that he
Yes.
had, very rebellious
Yeah, he was a
kind of
hippie.
phase. He was a very hippie-ish character back then. Denny O'Neil, thank you for doing this.
Well,
It
I
made
love
it
Green
made
Arrow.
it made the
Yeah.
characters very interesting, and every time he would team up with anybody, it would not be a smooth transition. There would be always fighting about ideals, talking about the little guy versus the haves and the have-nots. It's a whole thing with Green Arrow. And the thing is, I was very young when I was reading these comic books, and it was great to have all these new ideas because when before that I would read something like World's Finest, where Batman and Superman would team up, and it would be like, hey, it's Thursday, let's team up. But whenever Green Arrow was put into the mix, the team up was a little prickly. There would be arguing, there would be a little fighting. Just he would always find a way to get under the skin, and that was a lot of fun. If you read those Green Arrow, Green Lantern team ups, the stories don't hold up to scrutiny, and they don't hold up right now. They're kind of boring, but the idea of having a character that's very straight and narrow, and a character that's more a free thinker, and just their ideals just constantly hitting, you know we didn't used to get comic books like that, and it was presenting new ideas but keeping in line with what the characters were. They weren't changing them completely. It was an organic growth of both characters, so that was a lot of fun. And now what we're getting, oh, it's just, I just really feel it's just to attract attention without it being a logical outgrowth or an organic outgrowth of what the characters were. They just act
Oh.
differently just to call attention, for no good reason. And I was like, oh my god,
Hey, J Man.
I used to love
J Man,
comic
good to
books. What
see you.
happened?
Yeah. Well, one of the things about these team up books, be it Marvel Team Up or Brave and Bold or what have you, it had to be kind of attractive for the writers, a good gig, because we were talking about they didn't have, in the regular books, or whether it was Spidey's regular books or Batman's regular books or what have you, they didn't have to worry about continuity or character development. They were told to tell a story about one of these guys teaming up with some other hero, and that means it's got to be all wall to wall action and concentration on story, and you never had to worry about a lot of character development, and that had to be kind of easier, at least for the writers, because it was just meant for fun, like as we've been saying all night. So I kind of like that about these comics. It's just a simpler time. And do you remember in one issue 150 who this question mark team up was?
Oh no, I didn't read that issue. Who was it?
Yeah, fantastic. 150th anniversary issue, Brave and the Bold. Does anyone know?
You told me one. I do believe you told me one time. I totally forgot.
Well, the guy he shared World's Finest with. It was Soups.
Super.
Yeah. And yeah, so because I don't think he's ever been on the cover of a Brave and the Bold. Weird, huh? That I know of.
Yeah.
Maybe he has. Superboy has.
Superboy, yeah. This is a Superboy cover, but no, I don't think he and Superman. I don't think so because they would be on World's Finest all the time. So there you go.
Yeah. So it was just kind of a surprise thing. But yeah, he met even met the Human Target, who was, I believe, the backup feature before Nemesis, right? For a while.
Yeah. Christopher Chance, the Human Target.
Yeah. Great TV show, by the way. Got cut too early. I love that show. And yep, Supergirl, of course, was on there a few times. I'm trying to find that one because you were talking about it earlier. I think one of the best pure stories ever done in this title.
One?
No, I'm gonna find it with Earth 2 Robin. Alan Brennan wrote it.
Yeah. That's the one with
the issue number
where the stuff from the Batcave is attacking them, right?
Wasn't Hugo Strange on that one?
I remember that there was one where the stuff from the Batcave was attacking them. Where the stuff from the Batcave was attacking them, like the Batmobile was attacking them and stuff like that.
Here's the one with the Huntress you were talking about.
Yeah. Oh, that was so sad. That really got to me.
Oh, I found it. If I'm remembering it right now, this was a really good say. Hugo Strange on the cover, yeah. Interlude on Earth 2. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's where
it's got Batwoman.
Yeah. The stuff from the Batcave is attacking them. Like he's controlling the Batmobile and the Batmobile is attacking them and stuff like that. Yeah, that was a really good Robin of Earth 2 costume. Because the first costume that he wore was awful.
Hey, 24/7, buddy. Yeah, in fact, I love the Earth 2 Robin costume, the second one, like you say, so much that I kind of, that was, I remember being really upset when they gave him the disco Nightwing outfit in the Teen Titans in the mid 80s and called him Nightwing. I said, no, I wanted him to be like the Dick Grayson of Earth 2 and be an adult Robin. I was pretty pissed off about that for a long time.
That was so sad because, when the original Nightwing costume came out by George Perez, I really loved it. But that costume does not age well. Because
they call it the disco costume now.
It looks like a disco guy because he has has an opening. He has an opening down to his navel. What's up?
Right.
I mean, he's a guy. I appreciate with Starfire having showing that much skin. Don't want that on Dick Grayson. No, I don't. The second Nightwing costume is one of my favorites, and the one he's wearing now. Well, the most popular one, the one with all black with the blue stripe. That's great. Those issues, the Rose and Thorn issues.
Oh yeah,
really good story. Really good story. Love, and you would go, out of all the characters ever, why have the only two-parter be with Rose and Thorn? But it was, I remember those being really great issues, and the character being really good because she was like an amnesiac. She was an amnesiac. She saw like her parents being murdered or something like that, it gave her a multiple personality disorder. So she's Rose, and she's a nice girl, but at night she becomes Thorn, and she's an avenging angel. Really good character, and sadly, that's the character that Brian Michael Bendis used to introduce his reboot of the Legion of Superheroes, which was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, he's garbage.
I know, and he's done good things in his career, like his Daredevil's really good. I enjoyed a lot of his all different X-Men, but his Avengers was just the most awful thing he's ever done in his life. And what he did with
recently,
and what he did with Legion, it just disgusting. And I like the beginning of his Ultimate Spider-Man, but it just do not enjoy Miles Morales. I don't think he's a good character. Although I did enjoy I enjoyed the movie, but not the comic book.
Go back to some of these Adams covers. Yeah, Raven the Bold was a special book. What I did like an update. Yeah, the Nightwing. Yeah, well, when it comes to Nightwing, backtrack a little bit. I don't know. I came from loving those JLA JSA crossovers and getting to see, and then later I think in Infinity Inc. a little bit, getting to see Dick Grayson, an adult Dick Grayson who stayed Robin,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of just liked that better.
That was good,
but it's fine. I mean, and we had I was on Loki's when he was doing his Tuesday night show just a couple of months back, and they had Chuck Dixon on there, and he was really cool when we talked to him about a lot of that stuff. He was a really nice guy.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, very cool dude.
I got to meet him at the San Diego Comic-Con, and I didn't get an autograph, didn't get a picture because I'm not that kind of guy. I just like to go up to the people I admire and just say, "Look, I know it may mean nothing to you, but you are one of my favorites." And I tell them, just how much I appreciate their work. And I mean, I just love Chuck Dixon was one of my favorite Batman writers, and I said, how come nobody, whenever they're making lists of great Batman writers, you don't appear there? Do you think the character kind of overshadows the writer? And he said something that was seemed really humble and really cool. He goes, "I did my best to never try to overshadow Batman. I said, Batman is such a big character. I'm just going to write the best that I can do for him and not try to be, flashy about it, Just do really good stories, really solid stories." And I love what Chuck Dixon did with Batman, with Nightwing, and with Robin, Tim Drake Robin. Did amazing things. And then, sadly, after he left, just the Batman titles kind of did a really huge dip. I mean, Larry Hama, who I love in G.I. Joe, he was just not up to the task to writing Batman. And it just really killed me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Larry Hama can't write Batman. It's sad.
Yeah. Like I said, I've never seen anyone make a list one way or the other, so I don't know. But yeah, he's written he's probably written more Batman comics than anyone or one of the.
He was so good. He was so good on all those issues. And yes, I will go to my grave saying that his Airboy is one of my favorite titles ever.
And in tribute to you, by the way, you'd be proud because no one else knew anything about a lot of his other stuff, and I brought up Airboy, and he loved talking about it, and he was glad to talk about it. And he loved it, and I talked to him about Airboy.
Yeah, right, and you knew about Airboy because I always kept talking about Airboy. And what you do, you ripped up issue after issue of Airboy in front of me.
But I was buying it before you told me about it. I bought the comic. Yeah,
you're a bastard. And the only reason
I only took up copies in front of you because I care.
Die. And it was so funny because Airboy was such an inexpensive read, because nobody was buying Airboy by then, so you could buy 10 issues for $1.
It was a cheap book. Yeah, it was wasn't it like a quarter book or something?
Yeah, for a long time.
That's how it was. Yeah. Mark, able to see. What's up, bro? Good to see you. By the way, I read this one recently also. I was just messing through some old Raven Bowls back then, and this is a bonker story too. Holy crap! It doesn't have an Aparo cover, strangely enough, but I do believe he did the inside. If this is what I'm thinking of, this has a scene. There's a scene where Batman pulls out a badge.
Oh,
he's got a badge from the police department.
Never read that one.
Batman's a cop in this issue just because Bob Haney. If it's the right story I'm thinking about. Yeah, look at the Titans are a bunch of hippies. It's a commune of outcasts. Right. Oh, right on, drivers. Crush those defiant kids. Featuring no scene even remotely like this. Gotham City urban renewal underway. Oh, it was so bad.
Oh, it's talking about really silly things. I do remember in Brave and the Bold 178. That's the one with the creeper.
178. Okay.
Just look at the cover. Just look at the cover because I'm going to ask you a question, right?
Okay,
so
we're close to it.
Just look at the cover.
Got to find out what number we're at here. 188.
178.
Oh, there you go. Yep. There you go. Okay. The paper chase. I remember this one.
You see the bad guy? He's made of paper.
The paper guy? Yes.
Batman is having problems defeating a man made of paper.
So is the Creeper, by the way, right? So
Yeah. So I'm
neither one of them can
guessing.
beat him. Mhm.
I'm guessing Bob Haney saw someone, fool around with origami, and he said, "Hey,
Haney was gone
what
at this
about
point. What number is that again?
really 178?" Let's see who did
I'll
it.
I'll tell you who did it. Let's see here. I think he was gone at this point, and it's probably. I'll tell you.
Uh, Alan
What did you say?
Alan Brennert. It's Alan
Was it
Brennert.
Alan Brennan? I'm shocked because he was a good
Yes,
writer.
I
178, you
know.
said?
Yeah, 178.
Wow, that's pretty dopey. I didn't know he did it that long. He only did it a short time. Wow. Oh my
I know. I
goodness, yeah.
mean, fighting a guy made of paper is just
Oh wow. There was another one he did
some
with
things.
yeah, Haney. I know I don't know where he went, but he left after a while, and a lot of different artists like you
Do
know.
you want to talk? By the way, do you
Sure.
want to talk about the revivals of Brave and the Bold, because they had two?
We could in a minute. First of all,
Sure,
okay,
sure, sure.
we'll do the last we'll do issue 200 real quick. Let's see.
Sure.
And then we'll do that because I had a lot of problems with some of those.
Well, yeah,
Um,
okay. Well, let's see. Before we go to 200, I would just like to make emphasis of just two issues.
mhm.
187,
one
the
Oh, the one's
aforementioned
right
Metal
there.
Man.
Okay, Metal Man, sure. I love the Metal Man. I know you don't like them, but I love them.
Yeah, they were just never. I was never a big fan of the characters. I mean, I did get to read in Mexico the ones drawn by Walt Simonson, and those were pretty good. And that's where I first met the character of Eclipso, who has become, a really, great menace, because back then he was just a silly character. But right now, I mean,
Yep.
he's the big time. He's going to be the bad guy in the new season of Stargirl, which I love. If nobody's watching Stargirl, please do. I love the first season. I adore the second season, just because they give so much credit and so much props to the Justice Society of America. And I just love the Justice Society of America, because they're just heroes, because they love doing good. There's nothing else, around it. They're just really nice guys, the Justice Society. And
Agent Decibel. Hey. Go ahead.
this issue of the Metal Man, which I love, because there was a character. I don't know if you remember this. Tin felt very lonely, because he's he's kind of the sad sack of the team.
He's the sad one, yes.
Yeah. So he built a girl, right? He built a robot girl who was just as shy as he was, right? And now the thing is that this shy girl had no name, right? Because there was no metal attached to her, right? But he always called her beautiful, but she was too shy to actually adopt that name, right? So in this issue, big spoiler, a lot of people thought that she had died, but she didn't die. She was like living in a cave with another Metal Man character, just the whole thing. And at the end, she has to sacrifice to save the guys. And it was just such a sad moment, just the way
Mhm.
they built up the character. They make you just really care about this character that you didn't care about before. And at the end, after she dies, one of the characters says, "Oh, it's so sad that she never got a name." And Tin says, in just in
What's
his
her name?
little, just in his whisper, he goes, "She was beautiful." And I said, "Oh my God, that is such a cute way to end it, just to end that character." And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's a really good issue." And of course, I just have to mention 193, which is, of course, the death of Nemesis. At least what we
The
thought,
presumed death,
the
huh?
presumed death. And it was a great issue, because the thing is, with Nemesis, he was kind of like, he was training to be a secret agent. He and his brother, they lost their parents, and their father's best friend took them in. They both trained to be secret agents, to be spies. His brother became a field agent, but he became a research and development guy, right? He became Q, and his brother became 007. Now his brother was mind controlled, and he killed their father's best friend, and then he was shot by everybody else that was around there. So he wanted to find justice for his brother, and to clean his name, and also find justice for this guy who raised them. And so the character is finding this council of 5 bad guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was so cool because he had a balance, and he had on one side he put the weight of this guy, and every time he would be able to, either he wasn't so much killing bad guys, but getting them in jail and whatever, he would put a bullet with the bad guy's name to find the balance. And at the end, when he meets his end, getting the last bad guy, Batman goes to where the balance is, and on one side is the name of the father's best friend, and on the other is Nemesis' name. So like Nemesis had to die for the balance of justice to be set. Beautiful issue. I love that issue, and of course I have it in my trade paperback.
You still have your homemade trade paperback? You still have it, right?
I have my homemade trade paperback, and long story short, I also have
One of a kind.
I have a digital copy of it, and of course the digital copy looks a lot better.
You scanned it and put it in a.
I found scans on the internet, and I just
gotcha. Right,
I got
right.
only those parts, and I put them all together. So I have my Nemesis trade paperback, like physical trade, and I have a digital copy.
Well, it's one of a kind. They'll probably never do a trade on that. So
I know, and it's so sad because the character appeared in Justice League Unlimited. So
yeah, he did. Wow.
So the character is kind of famous, but he will never ever get a real trade paperback in his name. One of the reasons that I love Brave and the Bold so much is because without Brave and the Bold, I would not have Nemesis.
Ah, well, there you go. And how many issues did you say it ran again in the back of Brave and Bold? It's like
what? Yeah.
How many issues did it run again? Did you say?
I said it was 163, I believe, to 193. No, wait.
Okay.
It's 166, 166 through 193, but it skipped an issue. The issue with the Legion of Superheroes, 179, doesn't have a backup.
It was a full issue. Okay, gotcha.
That was a full issue.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, yeah, you got that trade. You got one of a kind there, dude. That's pretty good.
Yeah. No. Every time I tell that story, they go, "Nema who?"
Yep. I remember.
And then I'm like,
I remember.
Yeah. I guess that's why you and I have been friends for so many years, because you're the only one that understands my pain when we lost them. Kind of like the same. Kind of like the same thing with like Manhunter. Manhunter was a great backup, and when he died, a lot of people just felt awful.
I wasn't that big on the Dan Spiegel's work, to be quite honest. I like his older stuff, but yeah, wasn't my favorite artist or anything. But I hear you.
I know
you like the story, so
there's something about him. I mean, I do not like his art, but for some reason, I like his art. It's weird.
It
just works. I don't know if you remember this. This is a comic book called Crossfire by Mark Evanier.
Buck Evanier and Dan Spiegel.
Yeah, and I have every issue of Crossfire.
Eclipse, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that's from Eclipse.
Yeah.
Well, I remember being sad, kind of, or melancholy about this Brave and the Bold number 200, because it was, we all knew that what was coming. We knew this was being canceled so they could put Batman and the Nearsighted out. I mean, Batman and the Outsiders. Batman and the Inside Outsiders by Mike Wabar. I don't know, man. I bought the first issue, I think, maybe the first couple. I don't know. Here you got Batman, and I like Metamorpho, and I like Black Lightning, but I really wasn't into the other ones that much. I don't know, just me. I mean, they were right, but yeah. But here you go. You got golden and bronze Batman there. Well, look at that cover. I love the cover, though. Like I said, Dave Gibbons did this, right?
Yes. Wait, part of it. He did the Batman 2 stuff. Yeah, he did the Batman 2 stuff. Batman from Earth 2.
So, Well, there you go. Now you actually want to take a look at the that revival.
Yeah, you're not gonna believe what I'm gonna say about it.
Now you're talking about not the short-lived miniseries.
Yes, a short-lived miniseries. I have them
Oh, that
all.
one.
I have them all. And
I thought you were talking about when it came back with
yes,
and
but
with Perez.
Volume 2 involved Green
Volume 2, you're
Arrow.
talking right? Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
Volume 2 was with Green Arrow, created by Mike Grell, right? Well, I'm created by Mike Grell
No, it was long. It was from
reworked
Longbow Hunters. The Longbow
reworked the
Hunters
character.
version, right?
That's what I meant. He reworked the character, and he made it more of an urban hero instead of a superhero. You know, he was
Right.
more of a, he went to Seattle. He was working with the police. He stopped wearing a mask. He was getting really in deep with his relationship with Black Canary. He was talking about having kids, stuff like that. So he aged the character to 40 and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
he tried to make stories more feel more realistic. I don't know if you can use that word when you talk about superheroes, but that was the intent.
Well, people
That was
throw it around a lot, but yeah.
that was the intent. And then there was this character, of course, the Question, who was famously an acquisition from Charlton Comics. But Denny O'Neil reworked the character and again made him more of an urban hero, again more of a realistic type of
Street
hero,
guy, street character.
street character, always asking the questions, trying to find the answers to all the tough questions, blah blah blah. And then there was Butcher, who was a lame ass character created by Mike Baron. He was, of course, the creator of Nexus and Badger.
We had him on too. He's a nice dude.
Yeah, independent comic. Independent Nexus is really good. Badger never got into it, and he was also writing the volume 2 of Flash, where it was Wally West, right? And he created Butcher. If I'm correct, Mike Baron wrote this miniseries
when he was writing Flash.
Yeah, and believe it or not, it was really good. It just these characters are not supposed to work well together, and they work perfectly. It was a good story. Don't remember much of the details of it, but I just remember really enjoying it. Just being a really good read. Just a really good read. And, back then you would appreciate. I mean, I liked the story so much that when Mike Baron did a Butcher miniseries, I bought it too. And I remember just being a really good read. Just not a great read, not a comic book that changed my life, but just it's a solid read. And Question and Green Arrow had worked together in 2 issues of the Question by Danny O'Neil. So
there's a nice grill cover.
Having them team up again, it's a good read. I mean, just check it out. It's a very 80s comic. It's very 80s. But it's a good read. Really recommend those.
Yeah, I think I bought some of these came out. It's just been. I think I bought them all. I don't know how long it lasted, but.
Yeah, that was only 6 issues, and then Volume 3 came out, and you have Mark Waid and you have George Perez. So really, it was just fun. It was fun again.
It was fun for a while. As much as I hate Waid as a being, this book was pretty fun when he was doing it first.
I like that. I mean, the only thing I don't like is the 3 books Legion of Superheroes, but he made them work.
Well, the one by Straczynski wrote a terrible Legion thing.
Oh,
the art was nice. So Perez here.
Yeah. The art was beautiful. The stories were fun. He tried to made some sense to all the team ups. So all the team ups were more organic. Batman wasn't featured in every issue. Like you can see in issue 1, it was Batman and Green Lantern, and the next issue was Green Lantern and Supergirl, and then it would change around. The one that I do remember that I loved.
You know why I didn't buy this one?
Yeah, of course, because it's the 3-boot Legion.
Yeah, filth.
It's a good issue, but I hate that Legion. But one of my favorites, and you're gonna get on my case, I know, but. I thought it was hilarious. Green Lantern teams up with Supergirl, right?
Oh, I know what you're talking. Don't even go there.
I just really
Don't
enjoy the fact.
do it on the channel.
I
It's a
just
channel concern.
really I know, but just
I know what
just
you're
think
talking about. Everyone, it's been a controversy. Yeah.
I know. I just think it's hilarious that Hal Jordan, he can't control his impulses. It just he's not a
Actually, he
he's
does, doesn't he?
yeah, but he's a flirt. He
All right,
can't stop flirting. Yeah, he's a flirt.
yeah, he
So
is. I think everyone knows where you're going with that, but
yeah, I just
yeah,
think it's hilarious. And he's like, she's Superman's cousin. She's Superman's cousin. I just think it's hilarious. You know that he's that kind of character. He's a freewheeling, just fun character. I love Hal Jordan.
this one sucks. Well, yeah, we love Hal here. This one again. Some of these were good. I mean,
Yeah, that was a good issue. I remember that being a good issue. And and then
Love
Perez
Perez.
left, but the next artist was pretty good there for a while. I keep forgetting his name, but
we'll find
Collins.
We'll find it. Yeah. We'll
That's
find
right.
him. Scott Collins or whatever.
Scott Collins. He was pretty good, and then the book just started to drop. And after Wade left, there was no reason for the book to keep going. And then you mentioned when J. Michael Straczynski came in. And now I love J. Michael Straczynski.
Well, we love Babylon 5. It's comics
On
sometimes.
Babylon 5. I didn't even want to watch Babylon 5. You forced me to do it, and I thank you. It was a great series. I love the miniseries The 12 that he did on Marvel.
Yeah,
the 12 is amazing miniseries by J. Michael Straczynski.
Great comic.
But his Brave and the Bold is awful.
Oh.
The number
Mark
33. Number 33 is the day we see what happened the night before Barbara Gordon was shot by the Joker.
I remember that.
And it turns out that Zatanna and Wonder Woman both knew that it was going to happen, and they did nothing.
So
that was moronic. There was an issue.
Was crap right here too.
I think it was issue number 27, where it was the guy from Dial H for Hero, where he finds out he gets the powers of premonition, and he finds out that he was going to die the next day if he used the dial. So he gives the dial to someone else, so someone else can die in his place. And I said, okay, that's it. The dial should never work for him anymore because he's not a hero. Period. And the team up he did with the Doom Patrol and Legion of Superheroes and the Inferior 5 with the Legion of
hate
Superheroes.
Them so bad. We're gonna get to those in a minute. Yeah, they're bad.
I thought they were going to be fun, but they were awful. The art is beautiful, but the stories are awful.
And the reason why they are is because the characters, I mean, it's like he never read a Legion comic, especially what he did with the subs. I mean, Polar Boy's an idiot. And he's not an idiot. I mean, but he was written like an idiot. One with the subs in the Inferior 5. That one really pissed me off.
Yeah, they were just not good. They were just not good.
Yeah, this right here at this point, the comic had turned to kind of crap.
And the thing is, it started so promising, and you go, well, J. Michael Straczynski, he's supposed to be good. What happened?
There he is, right there. The one you just mentioned with Dial H for Hero. That was the first one he wrote.
That was so bad. I thought it was going to be so good, but when I saw the character, one of the cool things about a hero is he sees that he's going to die. And he goes, well, I have to go once more onto the breach because I'm a hero. But no, this guy just says, oh, I'm just going to give my dial to someone else so he can die in my place. I'm like, that's not heroic in any way, shape, or form. I'm sorry.
This one was kind of dumb, too. You had Flash and the Blackhawks. I think it was Barry Allen went back to the World War. Then he was like showing him like having to fight like a soldier and stuff and killing and everything. It's like, I don't understand why you're even doing this story. I really don't. Love the power of the geek. Jesus Christ. This one was, I remember really getting pissed off at this one, but I can't remember exactly why now. I got to admit. I was buying it. This is the one I hated. Oh my God, dude.
Tell me about
Atom and the Joker. This was a piece of trash. I did not get that.
Tell me about it.
Well,
what happened?
The Joker is dying. He gets a head injury.
Right.
And he's going to die. but the people at the prison or whatever that are operating them, they bring in Ray Palmer at him, by the way, and he has to go into the Joker's head to save his life. And a lot of people are like, why are you saving his stupid life? It's a Joker. Screw him. But you know how that goes, that whole Superman. So he goes into his head and he just starts driving him crazy because he's in the head of the craziest guy on the planet. And there's even a scene in it. This is not too long after the Dark Knight film came out from 2008. There's a scene where he sees I guess they thought they were clever. The scene, you know, in the film where Joker's telling Batman, hit me, when Batman's coming at him on the motorbike thingy.
Yeah.
Remember that scene?
Yeah.
He's yelling it. And they put that in the comic book. Look. And it was like it was out of the movie. Like, what? Oh, come on, guys. This is so lame. And then it's just dumb. He risks his life to save the stupid Joker inside his head. And then he gets out and he mumbles some stuff. And the Joker sits up and looks at him and goes, because Ray's kind of messed up. It really messed him up in the head, going inside the Joker's head. And I'm not doing that specific, so if you guys want to read it. But he just looks up and the Joker looks up and goes, you're weird. That's how it ends. I'm like, no, you're weird, Straczynski. You're weird. But I think the one that broke the camel's back, you were talking about it, was the Legion one. Oh, my God, dude. Oh, there it is. This is one you were talking about.
Oh,
33.
God. I didn't read it. Somebody mentioned that I should read it just because of that. It was the day before Batgirl. I'm like, oh, fine, I'll read it. You know, I love The Killing Joke. I think it's a great story. So I read it and I'm like, oh my God, they allowed it to happen. Satana knew and she allowed it to happen. What does it serve?
Wonder Woman knew and let it out. Yeah. Yep.
But what does it serve? You know, if they tell her, hey,
dumb.
Don't open the door, it's not gonna change anything. All it's gonna do is they're gonna catch the Joker sooner. If she gets shot, it doesn't, modify the story so that the Joker gets sane. You know, if she gets shot, if she doesn't get shot, Batman is still gonna catch the Joker and he's still gonna go to Arkham. But it doesn't modify the story. I mean, if she gets shot, Batman doesn't catch him sooner. Batman is gonna catch the Joker eventually, and he's not gonna get sane. If she gets shot or doesn't get shot, it doesn't change the ending.
It's a bad idea for the story.
I know, and all it does, The Killing Joke, all it shows after she gets shot, is that the moral fiber of James Gordon is so tough that no matter what he's shown, he will never turn bad. He will never be evil. He will never advocate the killing of a crazy man. Even after he does the worst thing, a man can do it to another man.
Right.
Even after everything that happens, Jim Gordon tells Batman, bring him in legally. I don't want him to go. Yeah, by the book. That it just shows the moral fiber of James Gordon. But you knew already that he had incredible moral fiber. Doesn't make him worse. It's the stupidest comic book I ever read. It annoyed me to no end.
I hated it.
It put me in a bad mood. And those two, they're awful. Do
you know how much I look forward to this comic right here, though?
Me too. What do you think I got?
Patrol. Look, it's got the Legion looking like they're supposed to look.
Right. The art is beautiful.
Right. And that's the Legion. I'm like, wow, this can't miss. It's got them going back, meeting the Doom Patrol, my Legion. I'm in this one, even if it is Straczynski, because, the guy did do Babylon 5. And it's written like the son of a bitch never wrote a Legion comic. Which he probably hasn't. I love you, JMS, dude, but man. And then he topped it with even worse. This piece of trash right here. And again, the subs look right.
Yeah, the thing is, the art is beautiful, but the story is so... Not only is it bad, it's boring. It's boring. And you have, in the beginning, you have two very heroic teams. And here you have two very silly teams that have been used to great effect. I remember reading everything that Keith Giffen did with the substitute heroes. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Yeah, you mean the pre-crisis one?
Yeah, the
When it was
yeah,
DC Presents and stuff. Yeah, they were really good.
it's
That
hilarious.
was so good.
Everything Keith Giffen did with the Legion of Substitute Heroes is hilarious. And the
Right.
thing is, there's a mini series that nobody read called Angel and the Ape, right? I don't know if
I
you're
remember. I remember that based
well,
on the old comic. Yeah.
right. When Angel and the Ape came out, we find out the Dumb Bunny, a member of the Inferior Five, is the stepsister of Angel, the detective who's allied to this gorilla. They're both like a detective team, right?
Right.
So they used the Inferior Five in this miniseries, and it was wonderful. They used them to really great effect, and you find out a lot about those characters.
And
then
they're a joke group, though. Yeah.
right, and then I read this, and it's like it was boring. You have two great
Sucked.
you have a great comic possibilities, and none of them are used. None of them. It's just like it was a waste of my time and a
That was
waste
when
of
I
paper.
stopped buying this thing. In fact, I don't know how many issues there were after this.
I think that's it. I think
that was
those
it,
are
right?
the
It was
last
the last
issues.
one. I guess that was the last one of this crap.
That was
Good.
it was that bad. It was that
Ugh,
bad, and
that killed
it's
the
so
title.
sad. The art on all of those issues is beautiful.
Yeah.
I forget who did the art, but it's my God, it's amazing art.
Jesus Sayas or something like that. Yeah.
Signs.
So,
Yeah.
how do you say it? Size?
Size.
Okay.
Size.
Anyway, yeah, pretty good art. Kind of a
Jesus
a nice look to the art. Hungry Boy says, my favorite Keith Giffen was his 1970s Defender stuff. You mean when he was ripping Kirby, right? Of course. Around 50, when he was inked by Klaus Janson, y'all, he was just totally doing Kirby. See, my favorite is, I love that. That's nice to see because, it's Kirby's, but I loved his Legion until he ruined his style. I loved his Ambush Bug, and I didn't mind him using that weird style for Ambush Bug. Mm-hmm. And, of course, as you probably know, Hungry Boy, he swiped, absolutely aped another guy's the art or the style of a Venezuelan artist called Jose Munoz or whatever, from a comic book called Alex Center. And I'm not talking about just style. He stole panels and stuff and put them in Ambush Bug and other things. And then he thought, wow, look how great I am. Everyone really loves my new style. My old style was crap. No, it wasn't. It was the best Legion, just about the best Legion ever looked, dude. Or up there with it. God. Guys, Legion was so good at first, man. It was great Dart in the Saga,
Yes.
So what can you do, though? What can you do, folks? Anyway, let's see. Well, there's a nice cover. Do we have any final closing words about Brave and the Bold? What, basically what this title, what the great team-up titles mean to you?
Well, there's one word.
Batman.
One word to describe them all. Not only Brave and the Bold, the world's finest, Marvel Team Up, Marvel 2-in-1, fun. You could read them and just forget about continuity, forget about the logic of these two characters meeting, forget about the silliness of all the villains, and you're gonna check that out a lot, because the lame-ass villains in Marvel Team Up and Marvel 2-in-1, I mean, it's they created a character during the 80s just to kill all the lame-ass villains from Marvel Team Up. It's what was the guy? The Scourge. They created the Scourge of the Underworld just to kill lame-ass villains created in Marvel Team Up. Now, you can forget about the lameness of the villains. You can forget about the illogical storyline. You could just have fun. You could read them and just have fun. And I know it seems like such a small thing, but at least to me, to you, of course,
it's our childhood.
Being able to read comic books that are fun, it's not that easy anymore. Right now, every comic book wants to be the next big thing, the next huge crossover, the next, huge moneymaker. They're not just wanting for comic books to be fun. And that's the one thing that I can always take to the bank certain comic books. I can read them and just relax and have fun. You know, I always remember something like Days of Future Past. It's an epic storyline told in 2 issues,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now, and now every time anyone tries to do an epic storyline, it's told in 200 issues.
Right for the trade.
Right, and that was the cool thing about Marvel Team Up, Marvel Toon One, Brave and the Bold. It was a one and done, one and
Yep.
done.
Yep.
You would
I don't
you
think
would
they ever
get
had any like two-parters or anything.
a few here and there, like the
Maybe.
aforementioned Rose and Thorn ones, but it was
Okay.
just a one and done. You would have some fun. You would get to meet these characters. You would see these characters interact. You would get who's the funny guy, who's the straight man, who's the serious one, who's gonna be bonkers, and you would just have a little fun and see Batman interact with all these different characters, and it was just great fun. And that's the one thing I can recommend. The same thing with DC Comics Presents with Superman. Again, that it was great because Batman, Superman was always the straight laced character, and everybody else was kind of like acting differently. It was just straight, just fun. You know.
Fun's the best word for it because that's what comics were supposed to be back then. I mean,
Yeah.
we just have to face it. These comics were aimed at young boys and they're superheroes. And again, that doesn't look in a writer could delve into for example, in Amazing Spider-Man, you got into in the minutia of Peter Parker's life and the FF, all their family problems, things like that. Again, the Superman title, Batman title, whatever it was about the whole character. In this, it wasn't about Bruce Wayne. It was about Batman teaming up with Green Lantern or whomever. And that was what it was about. And the World's Finest was about Batman and Superman palling around. The Justice League was about the Justice League running around having adventures. Of course, Marvel 2-in-1, Marvel Team Up, DC Comics Presents. They were about what attracted us to these characters as kids in the first place. The guy wearing the guy in the costume. And that word fun is the only word you ever need. So you picked the absolute best word for it.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say that, I remember very well one of the reasons that I picked up Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars #1 was because I saw on the cover all these costumes. So much spandex, it has to be mine. And in the end, it's not an amazing story, but it's a lot of fun. It's like when a kid plays with their toys. You have the good guys here, you got the bad guys here, and they're just gonna fight.
Yep.
That's what Marvel Secret Wars is, and it's a lot of fun. Just seeing all these costumes together, just duking it out, and that was the fun that I always had with Brave and the Bold. It's just fun team ups, a fun story. You read it now, and look at that. One of the things that I hate are forgettable stories. You just talked about a recent comic book with what was it, Green Lantern and Dr. Fate, written by J. Michael Straczynski, that you hated, but you forgot why you hated it. It was so bad.
I remember hating it, and I can't. Exactly, good point.
It was so bad that it was forgettable. The same thing with the Legion and Doom Patrol and Substitute Heroes with Inferior 5. We both remember that it was bad, but we can't remember the particulars. And yet, I can remember vividly reading the Elongated Man Batman team up in Brave and the Bold, and I read that when I was 7. I remember vividly reading the Green Arrow Batman team up in Brave and the Bold. I remember reading the Creeper one with Batman fighting the Paper Man. These are comic books that I read when I was 10, and I still remember them because they were so much fun. I enjoyed them. I reread them immediately because that's how much fun they were. They changed my life. They modified my day. And many years later, we're older. We have better memories. We have a better understanding of how comic books work. We read these comic books and they're just totally forgettable, completely forgettable because they mean nothing. They stand for nothing. All they try to do is be controversial or whatever. They should just try to tell good stories. If you tell good stories, they will be immortal. Alan Moore didn't try to do just an epic work with Swamp Thing. If you read the first few stories, they're just really well told stories with this really silly character made out of swamp plants, and just he tells good story after good story after good story, and then that's why Swamp Thing is such a great story, just because there's a bunch of compilation of really good stories, good solid work. The same thing with Chuck Dixon. We were mentioning his Batman stories. They may not change the world, but they're really good, solid superhero stories. And I miss that. Just well told, fun, good stories. And we don't have that anymore in comic books, and which is why little by little I'm reading less and less, and it saddens me to no end.
Yeah.
I'm not reading a Batman comic book now. I'm not, reading a Batman. I'm reading The Confessor, who's a copy of Batman.
Yeah, exactly. He is.
I know, but that's how bad I've gotten. If I read a Batman comic, I get depressed of how bad they're treating my hero. It's sad. It's sad. But oh well.
It really is, man. Yeah, it really is. But the good thing is, we have these things to fall back on. But there's so much history because there's certainly nothing coming. I mean, look, I have some. I go on my friend Nick's shows on Friday nights. They talk about some new. Some of these guys still buy new stuff, and I always tell them. I said, well, I don't know what you want me on for. I'm not about reading any of this stuff. I'll be glad to hang with you guys, but I'm not going to even bother to touch it. They said, no, just come on and hang anyway. And I hear them talk about some of the new stuff. I have some of my good friends now, some who are even in the chat now, that will say they still have a pull list. They still buy this new thing or that new thing. And I get, and that's cool. And I wish that, again, not that they think they're not saying it's all great or anything. They like some stuff. They kind of agree that, that comics should be better, but they don't really. I mean, I never hear about anything goes, wow, that's really good. I got to run out and go grab that because I heard everyone talking about it. Doesn't seem to happen anymore. And it's a shame, man. It's just a shame. But that's where we are right now with this art form. I know some of you still collect comics, but to me, it's kind of a dead art form. Not dead, the art form itself. I'm just saying I'm going to say not the art form, but the industry.
It's truly sad. It's truly, truly, truly sad that now when we talk about comic books, we talk kind of like in the past, oh, that I read was so good. That I read I just read a comic book. I remember, let's say it wasn't so long ago. When we finished reading Astro City, we couldn't wait to tell everybody about it so they could get in on it.
Yeah.
When we read Supreme, we couldn't wait to tell everybody about it so they could get in on it. Or the Carl Kessel Daredevil run,
Yes.
Or like when I got into Starman, I was like, oh my God, Starman by James Robinson was such a good comic book. Or when we remember when I read the Justice Society of America by Len Straczynski and drawn by Mike Parabek.
It was so good.
I wanted everybody to know that it was good. Or Batman Adventures that was also drawn by Mike Parabek. May he rest in peace.
Rest his soul, yeah.
Yeah, we wanted everybody to know about it because they were such solid comic books. And now I kind of read a comic and go, well, yeah, it's okay. You may enjoy it. I don't feel this need to say you gotta read it. And little by little, there's a lot less comic books like that for me. That I have to recommend, that I have to say you have to read it. You will get a kick out of it. Just little by little, there's just less stuff to recommend that's up to my level. Maybe I ask too much. I don't know.
I think we all do, man. Yeah, I think we do.
It was as some of your listeners know, I have a radio show called Comic Mania. It's in Mexico, so of course it's in Spanish.
Yep. But there's a link in my description below, by the way, if anyone can't understand Spanish.
Please subscribe. You won't understand anything, but it'll really help.
Yeah, please help with the subscription. Go to Comics Mania and follow that description link below, and please at least subscribe to Carlos if you would. Good.
Thank you very much. I would appreciate that. But here's the funny thing: the Mortal Kombat movie came out, right? The most recent
Right.
Mortal Kombat. So of course I went to the theater. I went to see it. It was horrible. There's a lot of fun stuff in it, but in just there's a few good kills, a few good lines, but in just the whole thing, it was a waste of time. So of course I go ahead and give my review on the show and just say, it's a waste of time. It's not that good. If you're a really huge Mortal Kombat fan, you will enjoy it, but for me, just didn't do it for me, right? So
Yeah.
this guy who listens to my show writes to me. He goes, "Well, real Mortal Kombat fans don't care for a really good story. All we want to see is the kills." And I go, "Well, gee, maybe I asked a little bit more from a movie than you do." Without basically, I just told him, "You're an idiot because you're asking for you're the lowest common denominator. You're satisfied with just watching bloody kills, just like in the video game. Well, just play the video game. I'm sorry. I wanted a story. I wanted characters. I wanted to care for what happened on the screen. I'm sorry for asking too much,
Yep.
But he has become that. The comic books, if you see Spider-Man in a Spider-Man comic book, that apparently is all the new fans need. They don't need the good story. They just need for the character to appear dressed as the character. And that's it. I'm sorry, I asked for a little bit more.
Yep. You're so unreasonable, man. There's the link right there in the chat. It's also in the chat, as well as in my description below.
Yeah, thanks.
Comics Bay. That's Carlos' channel, everyone. Absolutely,
Thank you
dude.
very much.
I hope you hope you're still doing it weekly, or what are you doing? Or how often are you doing it?
Every Wednesday at 4. We go on air. We go simultaneously on Radio AM in Mexico and on YouTube, right?
Can you do English subtitles? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I would love to. And for a while there, we had to go. We had to do the show on StreamYard because I couldn't leave my house because I had COVID. But of course, I didn't even feel it because of course,
same here.
I am. Well, as you well know, I am Batman. So, of course, a virus that affects bats could not affect me, and it didn't. So I was fine.
Yes.
I was fine.
He is Batman, folks. I had it back in December. Did not me at all.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
cool.
did Jonathan.
I just got a little. I was a little fatigued, but I didn't know if it was my diet because it gets harder every day, or if it was because of the COVID. But it was fine, no biggie. But it's oh my god, I am Batman.
You got a few new subs there from some of our friends. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Thank you all. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here, folks. I thank you for hanging us with us tonight. The bottom line is this is part 2 of the great team up books. I had a lot of fun last week talking a little bit about World's Finest. That was great. And I'm talking here with my friend Carlos because he's the Batman. He is Batman, and I wanted him to talk about his Batman book, his title. So, and I appreciate you being here, hanging with me, Duder.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
A couple of show notes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everyone, I've got like I said, I've got my Clobby's Comics Corner videos up now. Number 1, they're going to start on a regular basis. I had to get those other. It was a little late on those other 2. They're pretty they're pretty shaky. I don't really know how to make videos that well, but that's I could get the point across. And I appreciate all the nice things you've all been saying about it. I really do. I'm having fun doing it. It's finally an idea that I can really get behind that I'm enjoying. And that was number 1, and then it was number 2. Then the follow-up show. But every week from now, it's going to start back on Wednesday afternoons. It'll come out. It's usually going to be like more of a 15, 16-minute video. Then the next day, the follow-up video, and then it's going to be every week. Just like you were going back in time to my time-traveling TARDIS spinner rack comic shop and buying the new comics that were available back then. And, so tomorrow night, I will be on with the great 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, my good buddy. He is a great chap, and he's having me on Toxic Tuesday tomorrow night to talk about the wonderful masterpiece, Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble. Love it, love it, love it. Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Great Stone Loki, the aforementioned Mr. Nick Weiser, Oh, I put the wrong picture up. Well, that's okay. It's updated. I do believe our good buddy Mark D with a C and Lord Thoth will also join us. Getting a little bit off the geek plantation, talking some NFL history because the new NFL is crap, garbage. I hate them now. I've sworn them off after 50 years of loving them, but still love the history of it. The Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks for all 32 teams. And then I got a big treat for all of you for the Global Geek Gang, which has really been doing well on Thursday afternoons at 1 p.m. It is a lot of fun, and I really appreciate all of you hanging out with us for the Global Geek Gang. We're going to talk about the comic book team-ups we wish could be, the dream ones, and I'm gonna dazzle you all with some magical feats, whatever comic book team-up you name, within some reason. If it's Marvel, DC type things that we will never see. You name it, I'm going to show you that comic. And I have at my disposal the magical means to do so. You will be astonished. Unless you already know where I'm getting them from. Then you go like, oh, I know where you got those. But in case you don't, Saturday night, Star Trek. With 4 more episodes. Boy, it was tough. Been tough getting through Next Gen. I mean, look, I've softened on it over the years, and I like it better than I used to, but this second season, we're getting to the better ones, though. I don't know about this week, but I've been having. It doesn't matter because Raquel and I have a blast hanging out with all of you, reviewing these episodes. 4 more this week, getting to the end of that generation. So Saturday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, my friends. Yeah, buddy, what you got?
No, just I saw this really cool documentary about Deep Space Nine. I'd never seen an episode of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, What We Left Behind. Yeah,
really good documentary. And then I finally I said, fine, I'll give it a shot. I saw the pilot; it's pretty good.
Look, dude, I haven't told you that. Around 2016, I went back and gave it more of a chance, and I used to. Now I still maybe prefer Babylon 5 a little bit, but I'm a huge fan of Deep Space Nine, and I've watched them all many times.
Just saw the pilot. Said, it's pretty good. I should give it a shot.
Well, you know what I did with that? I'd seen the pilot, then not just kind of checked out and watched a few here and there. So what I did is I made a commitment to the rest. I'm going to try it again, and I watched like the first half of the first season, and I was like, "There's one here and there, but I don't know." Then I saw an episode that aggravated me so much. I'm like, "Well, screw this show," but I'm not watching this anymore. But I did anyway, right? I stayed with it. Toward the end of the first season, I'm like, "Okay, I like the people. There's a good cast." It's okay. Let me see where they go with this. It has its faults. I mean, it's tough getting out the gate with any show, but I was liking it enough, and I stayed with it, and got really it fell. 7 years. You're not gonna love everything, but I really, really love it, and we're looking forward to getting to reviewing that when we get there. But it's going to be a while. We're doing all the series, so it's going to take years. But
yeah, and the same thing happened to me with Next Gen. I really liked it the first season, the first few episodes, and then the more you got into it, you go, oh my god, it's so boring.
It got really good toward the 3rd or 4th season, stuff like that, and it takes a while, So as long as it's not that new filth, because we're not going to touch any of the new filth.
Oh really? No Picard, no Discovery.
I sat through all of the first season of Picard, and it's one of the most horrific things I've ever seen in my life, and. Well, I'm not saying this is me, but there's some people who love that character and that show so much they can't go back and watch the old show now. It's ruined it for them. It's that bad. It's really one of the worst. The STD is a piece of horrible garbage. The movies are terrible, but P-Hard's special bad. So
I will be watching Strange New Worlds, at least the
first
few
few episodes. Worse.
I'm gonna watch the first few episodes and I'll let you know.
Killed. Remember my old song, Dribble, Crap, Sucks. Bites,
yeah, how could I forget? Every time I would tell you about any comic book that I liked, I had to listen to a stupid song.
Sucks,
and then bites, you would read it, and then you would read it after, and you go, "Oh, it's not so bad." I'm like, "You shut up, you asshole."
But it makes such a nice song. Dribble, crap, and then I go, dribble, crap, sucks, bites, blows. Dribble, crap, sucks, bites, blows.
Oh my god!
Thank you for being here, dude. Appreciate you hanging with me, buddy. Thanks a lot, bud.
I love it. Not a problem. See you later, my friend.
Let's do it again soon, bro. Let's do it again soon, man.
We still have that Legion show.
Legion show, yes, indeed, but we will do it soon, man. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Appreciate you, and big shout out, as always, to the great Stone Loki for this wonderful intro, outro. Have a great night, my friends. Later.
See ya.